understand what I was trying to say. And we watched like 5 minutes of it, and she's like, I have no idea what he's talking about. And I was just like, but he's doing such a good job. But the weird thing about 4th edition, my favorite thing that a lot of people will hate, is it broke up the flow of turns inside of combat, and it included more types of triggered actions. So there were all types of powers, but the coolest thing that happens, like, mobs had bloodied actions. So if you reduce them to half HP, like, some mobs would interrupt your turn and take an action. And then if they did certain things, there were other types of actions that triggered, like, if a creature shifts 5 feet away from you, you can then shift a number of squares equal to your charisma modifier. And then that would activate another creature's feature of just like, oh, if, you know, a creature ends its movement next to an ally, you can then take this attack at that. And it would just got to be such a jumbled mess where every turn took like 50 minutes. But it was just like everybody's always doing something. Of just like pushing your glasses up and saying, actually, I have a feat that, you know, when you take an attack of opportunity at this, I can add +4 AC to all of my allies and they can use a healing surge. Well, when he activates a healing surge, I can take, and it's just like, oh god.
Yeah, it sounds like Magic the Gathering.
That's
I will pass on that. Thank you. So now I know 4th edition is a no-go.
That's a really good description.
I'm in high school. I'm wasting all my time being smart in class. I have no time for that in D&D.
That's actually a really good description of 4th edition, Magic the Gathering, because all of this stuff was cards.
Yeah, it is, man.
Yeah, I lost passed on all that garbage.
I lost my first Dumont character that way with the bloodied action. we were fighting skeletons. And when you got a skeleton to half health, the bloody action would be the skeleton exploded. Well, that would have been good, except my fighter dwarf pulled all the skeletons to circle him so they wouldn't attack anybody else around.
Oh no.
And when I blew up one, I blew up the other one, and then I blew up the other one. It got 2 explosions. And it blew myself up after I pulled all those 8 skeletons to me.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Took one for the team.
All right, let's jump into this and get started for tonight. I should probably turn up my computer audio. We'll turn this to that. That's fine. All right. Welcome to the Ilderon Tales, and we can definitely continue this discussion after the session's over. I just want to make sure I'm valuing your guys' time, but I love talking about the silliness of frickin' 4th edition. Welcome to the Ilderon Tales. We are playing D&D tonight. It is Dungeons and Dragons. It is a role-playing game. Anything, or rather everything you're going to see is going to be live storytelling. Nothing is scripted, and we can land in any direction. If you're under the age of 14 and you're watching this, go talk to your parents, because you shouldn't be. Get off the internet. The internet's for adults. I'm kidding. If you...
And porn.
Yeah, and that too. If you don't know our campaign setting, it is the world of Ilderon. You can go to ilderon.com, and there's a little resources thing on the edge of the page, and you can read all about the setting. It's pretty cool. And finally... Wait, I think that's all the things I need to go over. Oh, if you're talking in the Discord, or if you're talking in the YouTube live feed, it's really hard for me to see that. Please don't talk in the YouTube live feed. Join the Discord. The Discord's open to anybody. If you jump in the Discord, I've got a little widget that takes the text out of the Discord and puts it into my broadcaster. So every now and then when I flip over to my broadcaster, I see people are talking in the Discord, and then I can kind of respond and hang out and talk with you guys in between stuff. So, yeah, and link for the Discord's in the description, so join. And let's jump into this and get started. And I should probably close my YouTube music playlist. Alright, the recap for last session. Last session started on the... I think last session took place entirely on the 30th of Noble. I don't think you guys passed any time. Yeah, the party... Last session was the second half of a big dungeon crawl that the party was in. and I shared the picture and I guess I'll put it on your guys' page too. That way, now that we're done with it, you guys can see what was like all in the dungeon. The party was in a tomb. It was the tomb of the Emperor's Sentence. It was a prison complex for souls that have passed into the afterlife to ensure that their bodies and belongings aren't tampered with, that nobody tries to resurrect any of these souls that were down here. That said, a local crime lord had found this burial site and had sent his lackeys, I suppose is the best word, or maybe gang members, to come and exhume some of the treasures out of its depths. And as such, the place was the guardian of the place kind of unleashed a plague upon the land, inhabiting bodies and murdering all of the people near this tomb to ensure that all of these goods didn't get out into the world and no part of these bodies were able to escape their sentence. The party came down here as a job from their employer, the ruins of the Kayak Empire. Their artifacts and stuff sell really well in the world, and they were sent down here to retrieve 2 of them. That being said, they were able to learn a little bit more about this place. After going through all of the trap passages, they encountered the sarcophagus, an open sarcophagus, where it appears somebody had tampered with one of these bodies. The party closed the sarcophagus, and the magic of the tomb sealed the sarcophagus shut, which then summoned its guardian, Malanin the Charge. Malanin came in and informed the party of what his role was here, and that he was going to kill anybody who disturbed this place, and that he had already done so. That said, he was leaving this specific sarcophagus open because a thief did escape him, one in service to the crown, and he was waiting to retrieve the item that the thief had taken. That item being a necklace that was worn by this lady, and she had a name. It was Arella Ifir? Or, no, it was Picella. It was Picella Ifir. Yeah, and so anyways, the party was told Malanin that they would retrieve the necklace for him and bring it back, and that way he could properly lock and seal the tomb completely without having to worry about people coming back down here. In agreement, Malanin agreed to part with some of the unnecessary treasures of the vault that had nothing to do with the bodies, and the party grabbed a couple armfuls of gold and items before getting ready to leave the tomb. Malanin powered up the basin for you guys to be able to teleport outside. And I don't remember if you guys went through it. I don't think you did. Just scrolled to the end of the recap and then seeing that no, you guys did not go through it. Alright. So how about we time skip to you guys leaving and exiting the basin, if you guys are comfortable with that.
Out of character, we just need to decide whether we're going to blow the place up as we leave or not.
It seems like we have the means.
Awful lot of explosions down there.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have the means.
We have all those barrels, and the answer is no, not until we get the necklace. And at that point, at that point, those explosives could be more valuable to us.
Yeah, there's too much money left down here to blow it up.
Yeah.
Alright, I agree, the explosions are valuable.
Let's wait
okay,
then.
so back into character, sure, we can skip ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. So, heading to the basin, and is dynamic lighting turned on this page? Let me look at this real quick. No, it is not. Alright, cool. The page just looks dim for me. Aha, there we go. All right. So you guys are able to go to the basin. The water that you have poured there is arcanely charged. One person taking a sip is able to get an understanding of the complex, learns the sequence to get out of here, hand in the basin, drawing the runes, and they are out. Each person is able to follow. Go ahead,
I
Steve.
do wish to fill a water skin with that substance before we leave.
I don't know if you guys will have enough water with all the people that need to get out of here. I'll roll you a percentage die.
Okay.
You know what? I'm not going to roll you a percentage die. What I will instead say is you're able to exit. It is pretty much a torrential downpour outside. If your party is willing to wait for you, after a couple minutes from the crack, you are able to get about 70% of a. You're able to get about 70% of like one of your water skins filled with the stuff. All right. That said, let's go back to the overmap. You guys the party was headed south towards the Warforged camp. You have a loose direction that you have a general direction of where they're at. Assuming that they are in a place called Low Throne. This looks like is zoomed in as I'm able to get. The party is currently... let me use a thinner thing because we got to do this small. The party is currently along this riverbank right here. Low Throne is just south of you. Is everybody comfortable with me handling your travel, or did you guys want to make any attempts or checks or anything before I move you away from this place?
I'm good.
I think we've got what we can out of it right for now.
Shortest route sounds fine to me.
Absolutely. I'll just, as we're walking, I'll keep an eye out for like herbs and stuff. Just like on our walk.
Yeah, I'll assist with that. I'll help them identify stuff. Sure.
All right. Thank the Badroni that I made a travel calculator. So it's going to be 81 miles and walking.
So what check should I do for that, Brandon, or do you even want me to do a check?
Give me 1 second to handle these lay calculations. You can roll me a survival check to try and forage. Keep in mind, once you guys get south of this river, this is the last fresh water in this region. You guys are in a bog. The toxicness of, or rather the pH levels of the water and soil pretty much make everything here poisonous towards most forms of life.
Okay.
Alright, I fill my 2 remaining water skins there.
You don't even need to drink.
No, I don't. It's filling.
Alright.
Does that roll with advantage, or...?
You can roll it with advantage.
Yeah, no, Brom said he'd help.
So would I, yeah. I guess you don't
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Alright. Let us see.
Brandon.
Yes.
So we brought firewood and stuff with us. How much of that got displaced with the big,
Tapestry?
tapestries.
Your
That-
bags of holding can hold 500 pounds, and I believe I told you the tapestry was like 140. So
Okay, so we lost half the wood, probably.
oh,
more or less.
did you fill up the entire bag with wood? I don't
No, we
remember how
didn't.
much I gave you. Yeah.
No, I don't remember how much either, but I know we had some.
Yeah, so at maximum you have 360 pounds of wood.
We didn't take that much, I know, but
Alright. So
JV, you don't remember, do you? You might have wrote it down.
Nah, I just got a whole lot of firewood.
a whole lot of firewood, yeah. I'll say for the most part you guys are good, and it's dry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got like 70 rations, 14 water skins, 4 tents, 25 foot of rope, 10 oil flasks, big tapestry. Was the small tapestry in there as well?
Yeah, I'm assuming it was given to me.
Question about the recap. There was like 400 and some gold mentioned at one point related to that guy that was like dead and asleep.
Yeah, so if you look at, I got 435 tracked on that. Where's this? That's all in the party funds.
Are you referring to a sheet or a record somewhere here?
Yeah, here we go. This is what it's correct. Yeah, this is the spreadsheet that I've got for the gold balls.
Oh,
So
okay.
I got 435 from the body, 549 from the armloads of stuff, except for I think Wilbert who didn't chip in on that, and then the 80 platinum from the horde of the other armloads. So that's, I think it's like 2100 in the party fund at the moment. At the next team meeting, Kai proposes a dividend.
What you guys are able to have while you're walking. So it's going to be 2.5. It's going to be 2.5 days of travel in order to get to Lothrone. In Isaiah, keeping your eyes peeled for any useful herbs around here. Let me close my window. Somebody's talking outside of it. 1 second. Sorry about that. In Isaiah, you're going to find enough plants and useful herbs to brew 1 thing of poison. You don't find anything that's particularly helpful as far as like not dying, but you could probably make some pretty vicious stuff off of this. That said, I did roll you on the foraging table, and you barely passed the check, and there's also barely anything in this region that's I guess useful. That said,
Before we get off of that, Brandon, what would you like me to roll? I want to try and find something for my smell bag.
for your smell bag, okay. I'll say
I'm sure there's something that smells,
Yeah, I'll say.
quote, interesting.
Yeah, I'll say you can also forage, but you're not foraging for edible or helpful stuff. You're foraging for things that smell really nice.
Okay. And what do I roll on that? I'm sorry.
It's a survival check, and I'm going. So normally in an environment like this, the DC would be 20, but I'm going to lower it because you're not looking for things to eat or hunt. All right. So Nyoka's not going to do great on that, but you're going to find some weird big leaves that smell like mahogany, like the wood. It's not a completely exotic scent to Nyoka, but I guess it would be kind of strange that the leaves are these like almost shady rhubarb-looking leaves are producing the scent. So
Okay.
if you want to add that, you can peel off a couple pieces.
I will do so, but before I finish, I am going to turn to Anaziah and go, I've had some bad luck in the past. These aren't poisonous, are they?
Do they look poisonous at all, Brandon? Like, at a glance?
At a glance, no, but they don't look edible. They'd be like poisonous in the same sense of like poisonous berries. If Nyoka eats them, he's probably gonna have diarrhea.
Yeah.
Like, sorry for the visual image, guys, but
yeah. I think it should be fine. Just I wouldn't recommend eating them.
Okay.
So ew, but yes.
Nyoka also takes the opportunity to ask Anaziah, you research magic, right?
Yes, I do do some research on magic.
What sort of things do you research magic on?
I'm researching magic on curing and reversing it of different aspects of reality.
Nyoka gives you the blankest stare that you have ever seen.
He doesn't. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, Anaziah pretends to understand.
Did Azur overhear this?
yeah,
Can I
I mean,
check?
I'm assuming if you guys are walking as a group,
All hear each other.
yeah, unless
Okay.
somebody tells me they're trying to have like a very private conversation. So, yeah, I would
Alright.
say Azure hears.
Alright, Azur will look at Anaziah, tilt his head a little bit. That's interesting.
Yeah, basically, and when I hear there's a little more interested, I go a little bit more in depth and go, well, the Terra, I can't think of the name right now.
Terai?
You were right.
The Terra are in a way cursed. I'm trying to find a way to reverse it.
As he's explaining this, Lex walks over to Nyoka and says, "Lizard man, did you understand that?"
Not much. Me don't understand why somebody would be cursed. I mean, and he points to Azure. I mean, Azure does okay, and he undead.
Oh yeah.
Azur then glances at them and says, I don't have a soul anymore. It's separate.
Out of
You wouldn't-
character. That sounds so emo.
He is kind of emo, I guess.
Nyoka
No,
looks at
just
you.
that statement.
Yeah.
Nyoka looks at you. Go, but you're still sniffing.
Still sniffing.
Yes, this wasn't my choice, but this is how I remain. I will continue on and hopefully avenge my love.
That's a mighty ambitious goal you've got, Anaziah. Most people would say that's impossible. Do you have any interim goals, perhaps?
I know it's a lofty goal, and I also know it's unlikely that I'll ever accomplish it, but if I can find anything that might help someone take my research further, I feel it's a worthy goal.
No, I salute your ambition. That is a spectacularly ambitious goal to pursue. But I found when striving for goals that sometimes it makes sense to little stepping stone goals to help myself get there.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, but what would be a stepping stone where you don't know the path to follow?
Maybe a visit to the Darkened Vale. I'm sure they'd know lots of things about that. Are there any particular individuals who are experts in this area who we could pursue and perhaps make contact with? Any records of failed experiments? Because I'm sure people have tried in the past. Those are the first things that spring to mind.
I was inquiring about that last time we were at the sigil. I got a name, and I'll just start fumbling through, like, I'll pull out like my notebook and start fumbling through it, trying to find where I wrote the name down, because I can't think of it right now. And I'll say, I'll give you the name of the person I'm supposed to keep an eye out for when I find it.
I see. Well, if I can be of any help as a Terai, let me know.
I will.
Naoko always says that you should come at a problem sneaky-like. That way you can hit it over the head and take it when you need to.
I'm sure that's an excellent strategy for sentient problems.
Yeah, I don't think this problem's that's gonna work well for this problem.
You never know.
Brom looks over at Azure and goes, starts sizing him up like, yeah, I don't think hitting him over the head's gonna help much.
I will hit back.
Yeah. Lex has no goals, so Lex is just, yes. Of course.
And then after that, I would have to heal you, so don't bother. Just ask me something if you need help with it.
Brom kind of takes that as a personal challenge.
Nyoka is going to break off for a half second and go, ooh, a stick.
And Desiru's going to keep an eye out for him through the corner of his eye.
It was not a straight stick.
Yeah, a decent sized stick, or decently straight, but not straight enough. All right, let's move forward. Okay, so what the party is going to have to do for me, and when I say party, I mean Kaya. Day one of your travels, I also need to get what your weather is like, because it is still a horrible downpour. Through this,
Is this the same day as the we left the thing, or is this we had a sleep?
it's the same day as leaving.
Hi.
So, leaving, it is a horrible downpour. I am going to simply make checks against the weather. I think that's the easiest thing to do. Oof. Cool. Alright, so the first thing I need you to do is subtract a ration for everybody for the first day of travels. That is going to be for all 6 of you, because Azure doesn't need to eat if he doesn't want to, but he does need to eat something else. The second thing is Wilbert, Inazaya, and let's see, Wilbert, Inazaya, and Lex. Due to traveling in the storm, once the nightfall hits and you guys are setting up for camp and getting ready, you guys all feel pretty bad as far as you 3. You are definitely going to need a full night's rest tonight to stave off any of the effects of potentially hypothermia through the night, or what's the other one? not hypothermia.
Pneumonia?
Yep, pneumonia. There we go. That's what I was thinking of. Azure too, but Azure doesn't care about disease. Azure is always gold. Otherwise, let's do a watch order, or let's do a guard order for the night.
I'm actually going to tell Caius that we need to stop early.
How is that, Naoka?
Kayak is at most risk.
And Nyoka is like, weather real bad. We should take more time to build adequate shelter.
Does anyone else have an opinion?
Brom just flips up his hood. He's like, I'm good.
I agree with the lizard man.
Very well. Let's stop early.
All right. I'm not gonna make you guys roll for erecting shelter. I'm pretty sure you guys all bought tents and everything, and it just takes a little bit of time to assemble them.
There's like 4 of them. Yeah.
With that, Brendan, actually, I am going to try and use my knowledge of wood, and I'm going to see if I can try and get our tents out of the rain and the muck.
Okay.
Like kind of make it almost suspended, if you will.
Yeah, I'll say for that, just give me another survival check. Like, Nyoka is able to do that, as to how well.
So I'm going to assist him.
I wouldn't say Azure has the same skill set as Nyoka.
That's why I was asking if someone could.
I'm sorry,
Could
you said survival?
Yeah. I don't think anybody has that skill set with Nyoka.
Okay.
I'll say if anybody has,
but I don't think I'd be great at it.
if you have proficiency in both woodcarver's tools and survival, I'll allow you to roll the help action. Otherwise, Nyoka, 15 is going to do it. You are going to be able, under some of these tents, you're able to make enough of a platform for the person to sleep on. And over others, you're able to just find places like on stumps and stuff that you're able to suspend some of these tents. You guys have really nice, almost hammocks for the evening. That said, I still need a watch order for the night, so I'm going to take it from Azure.
I'd like to be 4th.
Okay.
I'll go first.
I'll go next with Brown.
I'll go first and last.
Oh,
wait. Well, with a small break in between to do my little resting thing.
okay. All right. With that, everybody is going to be able to get their long rest in. As far as let's see, who was third? That was Kayeth, I believe, correct?
Sure.
Okay.
And if, yeah, I didn't take a watch, but I could fill in somewhere too.
Inazaya needs the sleeperonies.
Okay.
All right. So, Kayeth, on your watch, as you are sleeping, or I guess not sleeping, as you are watching, you are going to just kind of hear a shriek in the night. Originally, I guess, at first you maybe jump a little bit at this, but just like listening a little bit closer, you hear some type of raptor bird out there, although it doesn't sound aggressive, as in it's coming after you. but it does sound like it is patrolling this region.
Oh dear.
Do we have a fire going?
Yeah, I would say probably the party,
probably.
the party members who need like the sleep and warmth would have to be like have their tents near the fire.
I'm gonna go like 25 or 30 feet outside, or I'm just gonna go just outside of the well lit fire area. I'm gonna put my goggles down, and I'm gonna keep extra watch.
Kenneth is going to go inside a tent and put his vision through Gimple and put Gimple on top of his tent just to see.
All right, and you just keep looking through Gimple throughout the night?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. That said, you hear the echoes of the creature every now and then against the rainfall. However, it doesn't seem to ever get any closer to your camp. That said, let's jump... Oh, that's the only thing interesting that happens for the evening. The next day of travels. I already rolled the weather dice for you guys. It is 1d4 times 4 degrees colder today. Let's just go ahead and get that out of the way. 4. Oh my gosh, it is incredibly cold here. This is a very cold spring inside of the Low Lakes.
Zur will be using cantrips to try to keep people warm then.
Okay. I'm not going to subject you guys to extreme cold because it's not below 0 by any measure. I would say it's just got, like a chill in the air of, 45 to 50 degrees, where it's normally, probably about 40 degrees, where it's normally much warmer in this season. That said, you guys are going to be very happy that you chose to take that extra rest last night and not push it. As the rainfall relents, as it is now a light rain today, but the winds and the chill do not. You can subtract one more day of rations, and I'm going to say by the end of the first full day of travel, so you guys are a day and a half into this, you guys are going to come across just probably one of the weirdest things in the path. And you see it up ahead. It is almost a post with what you would assume to be a sign, but it's like much, much smaller, like maybe only 3 or 4 feet coming out of the ground. But as you get closer, you see instead it is actually a sword with a piece of armor hanging off of the sword planted into the dirt. As you guys inspect this one, out in the distance, let's see, who would notice any more of these? Inaziah and Brahm, through the rain, you guys notice a couple more of these scattered around almost, well, not scattered, but almost in a line. It seems that this is a perimeter.
I would warn Kayeth about it.
So I'm guessing this is a boundary into Nasty Land?
It would appear so.
Well, this is the destiny of Agents of the Silver Sigil, is to go into places where most people would fear.
So we're going?
Absolutely. Maybe
Stay
is
close,
it getting towards the end of the day?
One more time, JV. I didn't hear that last part.
Is it getting towards the end of the day, or are we? What time of day?
Yeah. This happens. This happens near the end of your first full day of travel. So this is a day and a half into your travels. And at this point, too, you guys are away from that river. So I would say before you're able to, take paths back to the river, stop and get drinking water. At this point, I am going to start keeping track of your guys' water in this region because, well, I guess you could try and drink rainwater. I don't know if that's healthy or not.
We got a jar.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, so 6 gallons or 7 gallons or 6 gallons of water for this day. What's up?
I was just gonna say, like, are we setting up camp right now? Is that what I understand?
No, I
I
think we're
suggest
gonna.
we rest this side of the border, and there's only a few more hours of travel left. Might as well have one more night of comfort.
I was
Okay.
thinking the
And get
opposite.
them-
I was thinking that they would have more comfortable places for you all to rest.
Ooh,
We
that
don't.
sounds to me that we're going into Badlands. I think our resting will be much more precarious in there.
Yeah, we might be having a bit more of a struggle crossing that border.
Very well done. An hour of 8, it's the same amount of time.
So if we are, I'm assuming that at this point we are looking to set up camp now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go get some of the bad water or the water from the other side and try ritually casting purify water.
Okay. So this isn't water from either side.
Okay.
Before, if you guys see this real quick. Actually, I can print screen it on the map, and that would be easiest for you guys. All right. So I'll print screen this, and I'll put it inside the Discord. And as soon as it pops up on my screen, nope, it's not going to pop up. That's fine, I guess. All right, I'll put it on the Discord, and then I will kind of explain a little bit of what's going on if you guys look inside of the Scholar channel. So before, what you guys were dealing with, you were traveling along that river. That river, fresh water flowed from it, from Ziwa-Awak, the big lake up there.
Yeah.
This whole region down in Lothrone is essentially just a big bog.
Yes.
Once you're away from that river, all of the other natural water down here is just, craze level.
Okay.
As far as purify food and water, let's look at that. Is that Xanathar's? Is that the regular?
I believe it was just the player's handbook.
Yeah, purify food and water was the player's handbook. For some reason, I thought you said purify water, which I was just thinking something else. All right, let's see.
I'm gonna make the roll to see if I could do the same thing with.
Okay, and you guys are out of the storm weather, so it's not as terrible.
Nope.
Alright, purify food and drink. All non-magical food and drink within 5-foot radius is purified and rendered free of poison and disease. Does overly alkaline water count as poison?
Technically,
Yes.
Yeah, it pretty much take any impurities out of it and make it drinkable is the idea.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Regardless, I would be trying to see if it worked.
I mean, we've got 7 gallons of water a day,
Yeah, but this would be a way we'd have
Even more.
if we need more water. Right.
Alright,
And this is a ritual cast, so it's not all it's costing me is time.
You spend 10 minutes purifying the water. You think it's safe to drink.
I'll try it.
So ritual casts don't cost you the slot?
No, it just takes a lot of longer.
If
So
you have
it's not-
the
instead of an
ability to
action.
ritually cast the spell.
Right.
Not everybody
Yeah.
is able to do ritual casting.
Well, as a newly barded bard, I can, apparently.
Bards get ritual casting?
Hi.
Alright, so you guys are able to turn some of this water back into... You're able to turn some of this water back into drinkable water. In Isaiah, for the most part, you feel like it's safe to drink as far as you don't feel any adverse effects immediately.
Okay.
Azur would have been far enough away from that spell not to be affected.
Oh, I'm sorry, not Azure. In Isaiah.
Right, yeah. I was just adding that to make sure I didn't get any of my special water affected by his spell.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you have poison water on you. Okay.
Nyoka could not find any way to make his contraptions work. He was very disappointed.
Oh, yeah. And that said, though, this time it's like just setting up your guys' tents on the floor in the mud is gonna suck. But I mean, it's not. At this point, you're not worried about drowning in the night or freezing to death. That said, let's. I'm not going to make you guys. Well, actually, I guess I'll roll this one for myself. Okay, and I won't make you guys roll for watches for this night because for the most part, things go pretty smooth for the evening. On the third and final day, which I guess is your second full day of travel, you guys are able to continue down towards Low Throne. That said, I do have a couple of these maps. Of areas that I felt like really represented this well. I do have a couple of them pulled off of people who created maps that are open source. But unfortunately, Roll20 is kind of hating uploading them. So we're just going to go with some inspirational images for now, and I'll put them on the Discord. So people in stream, you'll just have to kind of rely on my description. All right, as you guys get into the area that these that was known as Low Throne. The first thing you're going to notice is this area is just overgrown with thicket. Just like you saw at the Tomb of the Imperial Sentence, it feels like the world is just reclaiming these runes and these structures. Where you'd expect a society, occasionally... Oh, okay, well that's why this thing's not uploading. It's 14 MB. My bad, I thought I... downloaded the lower resolution version of this, but I'm smart. I can do this. Anyways, you are able to walk through some of these paths, and you'll see a couple structures every now and then with trees either growing over them, growing into them. Lots of uneven ground, but for the most part, there is a beaten path here. You don't know if anybody at all calls this place home before you finally walk past one of these buildings and you stare in, and you see just a workbench and a couple of tools set up on it.
What kind of tools?
I'll say stonemason's tools.
Do they look like old, ancient, worn?
They actually
Dilap-
relatively modern as far as like some of the tools modern stone shapers will use, to the best of Nyoka's ability to decipher.
I'm gonna pick them up
Okay.
and drop them into my.
Those likely belong to Warforged.
We're here to make friends now, okay?
Wow, we did make friends.
Mm-hmm.
Look around. No one's here. I'd give them back. I'd say I found them.
You're right, maybe someone misplaced them, and we're going to take them and see who they belong to. That might be a really good way to make friends.
Yeah, as you guys walk into this building, you can see a couple areas of the floor have been worked on as far as like a mosaic that was here. The building for the most part is in disrepair, but you can see some... I guess you can see some semblance of a person being here. Like the workbench looks like it's used, the crafts look like it's used. Different areas of the floor look like they're being kind of like renovated upon. But the walls and the roof, like the water just kind of rains straight down into your... If it gets any cover from the elements, it's mostly from the tree coverage. What's up, Wesley?
I was just saying, Wilbur's gonna take a minute to pull out his crossbow and load it.
Okay.
Upon
That's
seeing
all.
that, Brom gets kind of defensive. I'm gonna take the dodge action and stand by Kaya.
Kyle will just go out the front of the building and yell, "Hello, is anyone here?"
All right. Kaya, going and yelling, is anyone here?
No.
As you walk down this path a little bit further and calling, you are eventually going to hear footsteps, and not this guy. Let me add one more character. And we will use this one because I already uploaded all the art. Awesome. You are going to hear the sound of stone on stone and the sound of metal moving, as eventually you see a almost moving suit of armor walk down this path, and it is going to stare at you guys for a long moment before finally open its mouth and speaking and say, "Hail, lost ones. You've come too far into Lothrone. What brings you here?"
We have a message for Xi from Tior? From Tior. And we seek an audience to discuss trade relationships with the Warforged.
And Nyoka also speaks up. And if my friend XJ47 is around, I'd like to talk to him some.
He is going to say... he's going to speak up and say, "We are all gathered today in the center. XM96 has revealed his new piece of art. All of the other stone hearts are marveling upon such a work. XI has declared today a day of meditation. I too would be marveling on such a work should I have been given the ability to process such emotions.
So is now a good time to speak to XI? Or should we wait?
He's going to think for a moment and say, if you wish, you can stay in my kingdom. I shall shelter you until the rain passes. Once the day of meditation is over, I can send word to Xi's kingdom.
How far away is XI's kingdom from here?
He's going to point towards a group of trees and say, the trees cover it up, but just up that hill.
Your hospitality would be most appreciated.
All right.
Indeed. How many kingdoms are here?
Ooh. He's going to say, out of those who chose to reign, there are 34 kingdoms in total.
Very interesting.
What do you mean by chose to reign?
He begins walking, and he's going to say, well, when XJ Warlord was deceased, we were without direction. It was XI who suggested that we should serve no individual, upon which most of us chose to become individual rulers of our own kingdoms. He points to a tattered and rundown building in disarray, and he's going to say, this is my kingdom. I allow many to come here and discuss the politics of life.
It's lovely.
Is his kingdom basically his home?
Yes.
Okay.
Walking inside, this place is set up much like you guys would expect an inn to be. There are barrels here, and there are different. There's a log that's kind of strewn about to be a counter, and different tables that have been constructed. Again, the building itself hasn't been repaired whatsoever, and the rain is kind of like dropping off of the tree leaves and falling right onto you. He doesn't seem to notice at all. He's going to say, well, those who come of flesh, we don't keep much here for you. I suppose I can offer you a drink of sorts.
That's much
Certainly.
appreciated.
What is that?
He is going to go to the back, look into this barrel, and he is going to pour from it a very viscous liquid. It is extremely colorful, and he goes to another barrel and pours a few more glasses before he brings them over to your tables. He sets down each of the glasses. You guys become very aware that this is paint, and not a beverage. He's going to say, since we do not consume, we take pride in creating while we rest, relax, and discuss with one another. He's going to say, here, like this. He dips 2 fingers into one of the glasses of the yellow liquid. And he is going to, let's see, roll a d8. He's going to take the paint and he rubs it down Brahm's wrist onto his hand. And he gestures to the rest of the glasses and say, "Enjoy."
Excellent. Who wishes to be my canvas?
Ram
Sure.
immediately takes like a piece of cloth out of his bag and wipes the paint off.
Yeah, not very hard, especially doesn't stay for long with the rain.
Anyone?
I'll be your canvas.
Alright. We'll need to remove these clothes.
Well, take off the shirt.
That's awkward.
I'm pretty sure the pants.
Yeah, it is.
So, basically, I'll be doing a performance painting him while telling a story or something.
Okay. You can go ahead and roll me a performance check. It's going to be a little second before people get back to this tavern. Does anybody else want to do anything?
Yeah, actually, Nyoka wants to start. He wants to help kind of clean up the building without making it look like he feels like it's not good enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like he's going to take some of his wood tools and start shoring up like the bar on there. You said it was a log, right?
Okay, yeah.
So he's going to start making it squared off, and Nyoka is going to look at the at XM31, and he's going to hand him the mahogany box that he stole off of that skiff,
Okay.
and he's going to say, "We don't have much, but we do have this for you." Thank you for your hospitality.
He'll take it and he'll nod and say, "We here at Lothrone have retired our arms. Of course, hospitality is to be given to anyone who makes it this far. I can't imagine the fog has been very pleasant for those bound of flesh."
Lex coughs dramatically.
Azur's like, oh, it's quite nice.
The weather did not make it pleasant.
You said you were interested in discussing politics. What sort of politics do you normally discuss?
He is going to choosing to deal with the nations of those who once created us. It is quite the topic ever since all of the soldiers came through here several days ago. But nothing could keep the interest very long of all the of all of the monarchs before all of the monarchs once XM96 released his latest piece.
Interesting. Which direction did all these soldiers come from?
Does he know? He's going to say the direction that all travelers come from. They came from the west. For anything further east than here, you'll find an even more terrifying and unforgiving landscape. Why, not even we can inhabit it for very long.
Did they return from where they came, or did they go somewhere else?
How knowledgeable is he of this? He's going to say, their queen wanted our swords, but we do not pick them up anymore. Instead, we offered her trades, upon which she was very gracious, and Exile was very pleased with this. Since they have not been back.
What?
What?
We're sort of traders ourselves. What sort of trades do you trade?
There are, well, let's see. He's gonna say, "Oh, I simply trade in, or I simply trade in what I create here. Enough pigments, dyes, and paints to fill the desires of all of the others in camp. That said, you'll find no finer craftsmen in all of the world. You see, we Stonehearts were born and created with a purpose. And that purpose was taken and stripped of us. As such, each has found their own meaning in this conclave. Their own desire to be." Go ahead.
Were any of the monarchs displeased with this relationship with the Queen?
He's going to shake his head and say, "No, we are not tied to Exi's words, but most choose to follow and abide by them. If Exi was pleased, then so were the rest of the monarchs."
And what was his queen's name?
Rolls a history check. It was a very interesting one. A queen who did not call herself a queen. I believe her name to be Erin Grimhide, or Grimhand, or Grimhide.
And
Those in
one
her
last question
service
from me.
regarded her as such. Go ahead.
We've heard of this Queen. One last question from me. Do any of the Stonehearts specialize in magic or spellcraft or wizardry pursuits?
He's going to nod and say, any XM unit was a unit designed to be supportive on the battlefield. As such, myself and XM96 were ones who once used this art to kill. But now we try to use our talents for other things.
Oh, fascinating. I would be fascinated to learn more about how you're using your art in these days.
Yeah. He'll take a he'll go to like the biggest barrel in here, and you'll see him pour some stuff out of it and say, "Observe." Once he pours a cup of like this white base paint, he prestidigitates it and colors it, adding different pigments to it. The pigments of it sticking, and the paint taking another color. And he's going to say, much like this, but on bigger scales. You proceed to see his back little workshop, and kind of just using magical charms here and there to assist in, the processes that are kind of mundane, but become significantly easier when you can do these small tricks.
Kayak will show him his unseen servant and ritual cast it, and this is one art I found to be very useful. You can have a servant for an hour to help you with your workload.
And he does know that one, and he is going to talk back and forth. I actually was able to get this to upload, so that way for the people who are across multiple devices now, all you have to be is on Discord. And let's put this to the map layer. So if you guys look at this, you came in from the west side of town. What layer am I drawing on? Because that is so thin. Okay, regular. Okay, you guys came in on the west side of town, and you are chilling in, who is this? X31? XM31's? You're chilling in XM31's tavern. The house you guys found, you walked through the wall, and you saw the stone tools at that house. That said, you guys are able to spend some time here before later finally two more Warforged are going to come in here and join the place. They raise a hand to XM and say, 31, around! He's going to pour another cup of paint and bring it over to the table. At which point, they begin painting on, themselves or the table, and just kind of having a discussion. They look over at the party, and they're going to say, I see word is getting out about Lothrone. Come to loot us of our treasures. Ha! 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 Ha!
Ha 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 ha. Azure will turn around his model and show off his work to the Warforged that arrived.
I'm curious to what's actually been painted on me at this point.
It's something very pretty.
Yeah, what would Azure be like wanting to paint on Inaziah? It's a little hard with all of this rain, but I'd say for the most part you're able to get the general idea across.
Probably like the castle of his enemy or something.
Okay.
Something he has a memory of.
It's going to be like impressionistic, I guess, like a Monet or Van Gogh.
Sure.
And yeah, they'll look at it and say, you should see 96's art. It will change your life. He's in a 76 hour of performing it.
Wow. Sounds amazing.
How close am I on that table or whatever bar, Brandon? Have I smoothed out one of the sides?
You know what? I'll roll your percentage check of just like, Nyoka, this wood is soggy. It's old. Like, I guess like the structures don't much matter to them here because they don't really need them. So Nyoka would be having a hard time with this of like, who would build a thing with this? Why? However, I would say that you're like close enough to hear this conversation.
Okay. Shall we go see this art? Maybe visit Exo?
Yeah, let's do that.
Sure.
Wherever you're going, I'm going.
Thank you for your hospitality, XM30 something. Can you please direct us to this performance?
He's gonna nod and say, yeah, you go out here, you follow the path eastward, and are in the neutral land between the kingdoms. You'll see XM91.
Shall we be up?
Yep.
Alright, let's go.
Thank you for sharing your work, XM31. Farewell.
Or, yeah, XM96, that's the one you guys are going towards. Alright, heading out and to the town square, you can see there is a gathering of Stonehearts here. They are all gathered around a tree that seems to have been planted here. And just moving forward through some of these individuals. Everybody's... oh, wait. There's two things here. Okay. So you guys are going to head to the town square. In the town square, you are going to see you're going to see a multi-tiered pedestal where different Warforged are standing at a tension. They are motionless, and they are on each. There's probably about 5 tiers of this. The bottom tier being the widest, and then it goes up and up, and there are Warforged standing in a circle on this, looking out. All of these are motionless. As you guys walk by this tier, you become very aware that these are dead Warforged, as each of them might have a strike or like a broken carapace or something of which there is no sentience or life left to them. And this might be some sort of burial ritual for them. Heading to the northern part of the town square, you will find where a tree has been planted, and you will just see this one a lot more clear. There is a group of Warforged crowded around this tree and murmuring. As you guys move through these individuals, you are going to see there is a Warforged, a smaller one in comparison to some of the larger models you are seeing. He's got his hand on the tree, and there is a sword through his hand, stabbing or impaling his hand to the tree. At which point, a little distance away from him, there's another sword in the ground, and there is a crown hanging off the hilt of the sword. Every couple moments, the Warforged with his hand impaled to the tree reaches up and tears off a little bark and a little bit of wood from the tree around where the sword is, just slowly digging it out. People are murmuring as they are watching this. And I say people, but the other Stonehearts.
So you're basically we're describing him carving the tree and such?
His hand is impaled to the tree with a sword. He is slowly pulling the bark and wood off of the tree around the sword. Imagine... well, actually, for Azure, give me an insight check.
Sure. Insight. Okay.
Oh, you have got no idea what is going on here. I don't know. Maybe you just don't get it.
And he's
Sometimes
been at
art
this
is
for
like
70
that.
hours?
Are you asking somebody nearby?
Is that what they said in the tavern? That he'd been out for 70 hours or something?
Yeah, 76. 76 hours
76.
of performance. Yeah, looking at the ground, you can see he has taken quite a bit of wood from this tree. The sword was lodged pretty deep in here. Like, you can just see the chunks and stuff of like bark and like wood pulp at the ground as he just like scratches away at it.
Kaif will just talk to the group. I don't understand art, and I don't understand Warforged art.
If you say that out loud, one of the Warforged nearest to you is gonna say, Don't you get it? Gosh, he's stuck to the tree. He's stuck to War. War told him to kill the tree, and so now he's trying to kill the tree. But it's really not the tree that's his enemy. It's the sword in his hand. Another person's going to say, no. You're looking at it completely wrong. It'd be quicker if he pulled out the sword, but it was the other sword that is still there. It's the crown. And another person's going to say, no, you guys are. It's all wrong. It's so evocative. It's exactly what we were used for. Fighting people that shouldn't ever be fought. It's just a tree.
Nyoka is gonna
discussion
walk.
kind of breaks out amongst the people closest to you.
Brandon,
Yes.
after Nyoka hears that, he's just gonna walk past everybody and go up to the performer
Uh-huh.
Oh no.
and looks at it and goes, "So what does this mean? Because they have a lot of ideas and they don't know."
Gosh, does he break character? He
Probably not.
he intentionally doesn't pay like Nyoka any attention as he slowly brings up to his hand to the tree. He reaches forward and scrapes a bit of wood away from where the sword is. Nyoka can see the sword loosens ever so slightly. His other hand is still impaled to the tree. He stays staring at the tree, puts his hand down. A few moments later, if Nyoka's still standing there, he scratches at the tree again.
I suggest we leave the performance. Nyoka?
Nyoka is actually staring at this going, well, if it was me, I would probably change tactics to do a split on there. It would go faster. Your fingers are
Wow.
pretty strong, so if you jam two of the fingers in that little slot right there, you could get a wedge to get a big chunk of wood.
Azur will walk up and put a hand on Nyoka's shoulder.
Gently guide him away.
He's trying to get a point across. This is an artful play of sorts, Nyoka. He's not trying to make it fast or more efficient.
Well, Nyoka's just helping because apparently he wants to tear the tree apart. But I guess, keep at it. Eventually you'll get there. Remember, 2 fingers.
The next time he raises his hand, he does use 2 fingers, but he scrapes at it. He doesn't ply it open.
At that,
At which
Nyoka
point, I feel
smile.
like some of the crowd would start clapping.
At that, Nyoka smiles and goes, he gets it.
From this side of the trees, you guys would actually be able to see Xai's kingdom. Looking up the hillside, you can see there is the ruins of a much larger structure. And there also seems to be like huge, massive bones of like some creature's chest, just kind of rising off of the hillside. If you guys are, let's see, I can draw this in purple on the map. If you guys are right here, you can see this up the hill in light blue, as that was pointed out to be Xai's kingdom.
Shall we go give Xi a visit?
I imagine he's here.
I believe we should. Yeah.
Azur will quietly ask someone, is Xi here?
They are going to look around and say, oh no, it's very rare for Monarch Xi to come down from his kingdom. He doesn't interact much with us.
See, thank you. And I'll come back to the rest and tell them, yeah, he's back at his house, sounds like.
You don't tell us that it's really rare that he interacts with everybody else. He doesn't interact with anybody else.
Let's see. See how I'm feeling.
Can we not visit him?
Are you asking one of the Warforged around?
Nice.
No, I was
because
asking it.
They told him, but they didn't tell us.
Yeah,
you-
I'll tell you guys that much.
Oh, alright, thanks. Yay.
Yeah, if you ask, can you go visit him? One of the other Warforged will say, it is he who meets with most of the Fleshbound.
Excellent. Let's be off then.
And we haven't noticed anybody like keeping a close eye on us, or like just making sure where we're going.
From what you guys can tell, you don't know if there's other than the ones you're carrying, you don't know if there's a single weapon in this whole place.
There's a sword in a tree.
Oh yeah, other than those two. There we go.
Okay.
But yeah, for the most part, nobody seems to be watching you guys intently. That said, you guys climb the hill, heading to Xey's kingdom. At which point, as this hill winds up, you are starting to notice it growing a little bit more. That the bones that were kind of coming off the top, you guys are walking through the path of a corpse of a serpent. A very large serpent, as kind of like, I guess it's rib cage, or I don't know what it's what the skeletal structure of a snake would be called, as it snakes up this path and just growing larger and larger until you get to the top. Up here, you are able to. Ooh. Go ahead,
Brandon. Can I find a good piece of bone from that? Like, for crafting purposes and things?
For the most part, a
Or
lot
is
of
it
these.
too large?
Well, no, for the most part, like, as you're looking at this bone, I would say, like, yes. As you go to, like, just look at a piece, you notice it's actually been scraped and polished.
Okay.
Yeah, like, you would have to break off a chunk of it.
I'm actually going to bring that to Kyra's attention. Say, somebody's been fashioning this.
It's probably like a memorial.
When you guys get to the top here, you are going to notice there's not a lot up here other than maybe a couple sets of tools. Then you are also going to notice there is a large nest that has been built on the north western side of the room, with several blue eggs in it. And I gotta roll a d4. Cool. In this nest, among these eggs, the nest itself is probably about 5 feet wide in diameter. There is a singular out of the eggs. There is a singular blue bird that is leaning on the side of the nest, breathing very slowly. If
Sleeping?
No. Upon first inspection, it looks like it is dying. If you guys wait up here for a moment, eventually you hear footsteps. And coming up behind you, you are going to hear /C. XM. Nope, not XM. XI.
Before
Yes.
entering the building, did I encounter any resistance? Because I believe at this point I'm afflicted with hunger.
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
for ownership?
You are afflicted by the forbidden spell. So the
Right.
rest of the party is able to step in here. Azure, you're going to be stopped at the door. There's a presence of spirit here that kind of just pushes back against you as you try and enter. The rest of the party is going to know, or is going to see Azure is physically unable to bring himself to enter this place.
Yeah, and if you look at Azure, you'll notice that his eyes have begun spidering with red to some extent.
At which point, XI will see all of the party as he steps into this main area, and he is going to say, "You've come to my kingdom. Please, all, come inside. I do not prepare it to receive large audience of those bound to flesh, as most send word before their arrival, and we can fashion some sort of furniture for them."
Azure will enter then.
No furniture or refreshments will be required, just your words will be nourishment enough.
Standing before you, you guys see a larger, more imposing Warforged. Different parts of his body are painted, and you can see that his face is actually painted to appear as skin, although most of it has either been muted in tone or has been washed away. At which point, he is going to say, "What business do you have in Lothrone? Ours are the ways of peace."
Excellent. We are here to discuss trade with the Warforged. I understand you've had a delegation recently and open to trade with the outside world.
Yes, she wished to trade gold for warriors. That offer was not accepted. Instead, she parted simply with some of our art, and she left us quite a treasure. He gestures towards the eggs.
Azure will be heading toward the bird at this point. He will say, "Is it alright if I help this bird to feel better?"
He is going to nod and say, "These are the eggs of a water phoenix. They have already hatched many times. As they hatch, they die and wither, and they hatch once again just a little bit stronger." Azure, looking at this bird, you can see this thing has not had a morsel of food in probably its entire existence. It is dying of starvation.
So the Warforged aren't feeding the bird and it just dies over and over again.
Oof. Out of character. This is going to be quite a decision here. Wow.
He's going to say, soon, maybe in a couple years, they will grow strong enough to fly far enough to hunt, and lands that aren't afflicted with this bog's curse. And until then, they can enjoy the comforts of their nest. I was quite happy to receive them. You see, it's not very many things that we can enjoy the company of on this far-off land.
And how big are the eggs?
The eggs are probably maybe a foot tall and 10 inches in diameter, like a large ostrich egg.
Does Azure feel like he wants to eat them?
Roll me an intelligence check.
Can I see if they actually? Would I know if they actually are blue phoenix, or if they're just a blue bird that they gave him a bunch of eggs for?
Yeah, go for it. Well, I mean, presumably they. I'll put the bar really low. He's told you they've already hatched and died, and reformed as eggs.
Okay, so yeah, that would be perception, I guess, right?
Nature check. Give me a nature check.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a moment. Re-entering.
So you are going to recognize these as Inia wings, which are these birds of life, of death and life in Ilderon. They are phoenixes, but they are phoenixes of all different types of elements. At one point, Ilderon was filled with these, but I feel like that's probably all the knowledge that Inazai is going to get off of that 11. Yeah, it is a elemental bird.
Okay.
I'm almost to where I can roll mine.
Okay. Would you like me to roll it for you?
Actually, yeah, sure.
Okay. And it is a intelligence check for Azure.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to roll it as a nature check just because you have the same bonus for your intelligence as you do bonus to your nature. That's going to be a 5. I mean, yeah, Azure, your stomach's growling. I mean, might as well any living thing at this point. Like you're not desperate to the point where you're going to kill anything, but I mean, yeah, it looks like chicken.
Why do you have so many of them, and only one is awake?
He's going to say, one hatched lucky. It hunts and leaves when it feels like it. I have not seen it in quite a few days. That said, the others weren't as powerful when they hatch. They died just a few days ago.
Well, this one remains.
He's gonna nod and say, "Yes, its spirit is strong. I suppose when it dies this time, and whenever it reawakens, it should be strong enough to use its wings to carry it further."
Brown would like to ask how attached he is to this art project.
Okay. Let's see. He's going to look at them and say, "I am more so fascinated with the lives that they live and lose, as we ourselves are much more durable. Should we not find her in, we persist, presumably for decades to come. While these, if they don't get the sustenance they need, they wither in just days."
Very interesting. I, too, feel a hunger, as they currently do. I send greetings from Master Tior.
He's going to look back and say, "Tior?
Yes.
Tior is dead, is she not?"
She is Terai as myself. Still moving and speaking.
He's going to laugh and say, "Ah, ha, 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 ha. Cursed to become the thing she was conscripted to fight against." Dramatically ironic, is it not?
Perhaps. Now she's a abbess of those of my kind.
Well, then she knows of our unit's prowess on the battlefield. I assume she sent you, asking for our swords.
Out of character, do any of you remember why she sent us? Or
I'm sure
perhaps
she gave us a seal and to say, no, I don't remember any message.
I can give you guys a intelligence check. Since it was so long ago, I'd say DC 10. Anybody remembers?
Yeah, and I remember that it was only after we said we were looking to trade with them that she mentioned, "Oh, then speak to."
Yeah. So Malin
Nyoka basically is going to bluff and say, "It's because we mentioned trade. You have many beautiful things." Nyoka has some too,
Okay.
and he's going to point to some of his carvings.
Okay, I will address that. Azure or rather, Steve for Azure. You remember a member of the Darkened Veil was killed in Zewatekis, an agent of the Queen. Tior wanted to ensure that she would have support in case the Darkened Veil retaliated. She had interest in establishing relations with the Warforged out here too, as they basically it's a straight march north through the Darkened Veil, through the Warforged territory to Tior's monastery. That said, also trade relations. At that, Exai is going to say, "I do not control the other kingdoms. They are free to trade and do as they wish. If you see anything you wish to trade from one another, simply bargain for it. The laws of my kingdom are very simple. Provide me with respect, and in turn I shall return it to you."
Brom reaches into his bag and pulls out a gemstone worth 50 gold. That's what I have on the thing, and says, "Would you trade this for one of those eggs?"
He's let's see. He is going to say, "While I may have only been created just over a decade ago, I do know that one of these eggs is more valuable than most mortals see in their lifetime.
I have a different
Terai
proposal.
have hunted these phoenixes near to extinction. It is a grand gift to foster them back into this world."
And yet you allow them to sit here and die without feeding them, or you just enslave them to die and be reborn endlessly for no reason.
He's going to tilt his head
No
and say,
word, no better than what was done to you.
"It is not enslavement. When they are strong enough, they are free to leave. And with each rebirth, they become just a little bit stronger."
What evidence do you have that they become stronger each time?
He's going to scratch his head and say, "Well, I've only witnessed this cycle once, but it was told to me by the Shield Hand."
I'm curious about what you traded in exchange for the Shield Hand for such a magnificent treasure. You said you traded some art?
He is going to nod, and he is going to gesture here to the, or rather, to like the bones of the creature that kind of go around this place. He is going to say, "Yes, this was once a powerful spirit, one that was bonded with these waters. It has been long dead for many, many years. When I came here, I meditated upon the creature's skull, or at least what was left of it. The skull and the fragments of it, I traded away to the Shield Hand. I offered it to her freely for the knowledge that she gave me, and in return, she gave me these eggs to show her goodwill. That said, we of Lothrone will not pick up arms in her war.
You've already
What
done
was the
enough.
knowledge she gave you?
He is going to say, she warns of elves from far over, or from faraway lands, witches upon our shores, poisoning our rivers and poisoning our lakes. War and a battle to come. But, you see here, we already live with water that is much more deadly to any normal person. We do not need it. We do not wish to pick up arms in a war that's not ours.
Understandable. Did she say anything more about these elves and poisoning the waters? Did she say why, or how many, or where they are?
Let's see if he remembers.
Can y'all hear me now?
Hey,
Yes.
what's up, Wesley?
Yep.
I didn't know we couldn't
Hey,
hear you.
Now, I've been trying to talk for the past 15 minutes, and
Oh,
Oh,
man.
ripperonis.
yeah, oh
Who
well.
knows?
Okay, I've got the live campaign open right now. That's my bad for
I
not
was-
looking at it.
I was also about to shoot this Warforged in the face.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You're not the only one.
At the knowledge, he is going to shake his head and say, I did not ask. War is a thing that is common between kingdoms. It is why I freed us here. If the others choose war, it is a thing that kingdoms do. But my kingdom does not choose it. And that said, a lot of the other monarchs of Lothrone follow my lead, although I do not ask it of them.
I salute your commitment to peace.
So, Azur looks to Anaziah and says, do you believe that these birds may be interesting in your research?
I believe they would, but I do not have anything worthwhile to offer.
Well, let's present to him at least our goal and see if he's interested in that play.
What if I were to make you something in exchange for these eggs?
If you could produce such a craft as grand enough to rival one of them, I would part with it. Mine is the
What
way
if
of
I-
logic. And also
What
the
if I-
way of peace. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. What if I told you I could make a creature that was made of steel and wire and give it life?
And it would not perish to this environment.
No.
I would be very interested in this. You see, we do not have ways of making more stone hearts except from the bodies of our fallen brethren. But of that, we do not take part of such rituals.
Well, these creatures, what you're doing to them is torture. It's something that you don't eat, you don't drink, you don't sleep. It's something you could not understand. That kind of suffering. You don't seem to me like somebody that wants to needlessly inflict suffering on others. This is against your old philosophy, isn't it?
He's going to say, well, mine is the way to choose your path. And you say that these creatures hurt when this process happens. no sword strikes them. He's gonna walk over to the nest and kneel down. And look at the eggs. I'm assuming Azure is still holding the one that is starving.
Yeah, he's actually probably going to put some lay on hands for it. See if that helps it a bit.
I don't
Brom's gonna
know
pull
if
out
healing
a water or a
helps.
food ration and go and try and feed it.
I was about to ask if there's something in our food rations that the bird could theoretically eat.
At this point, if it's starving, it'd probably try to eat anything.
It's something that I can't explain to you who you don't need to eat, but imagine your life force just slipping away. Your body is destroying itself, trying to keep itself alive. That's what's happening to them.
Most life forms have parents or something to bring them this sustenance to keep them alive and thriving until they are full-sized and healthy, hunting for their own. It's a much faster way to get them on their feet and hunting than waiting generation and generation for them to hatch again and again.
They'll never grow. If it's a phoenix you want, I'll make you one that doesn't need to eat or sleep like you do. But
he's going to consider this and say, well, if you craft such a thing, I will trade you an egg. But you should do it quickly. If that is the case, then I had no idea this process was so harmful, was so painful for these creatures. I will take them somewhere upon which they can feed.
I'm gonna turn to Nayoka and ask if we still have bear meat, because I think that was like a thing that we had.
I think you guys have a bajillion rations. I don't think you've hunted a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might as well give him rations.
As far as like rations go, most rations are like dried meat and nuts.
Oh yeah, that's probably good.
At the
Soak it in water or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the
Oh
bird
yeah,
will
make it
try
softer.
and eat the meat, but it's gonna be unable to until if you do that, it's gonna just kind of like nip at it lightly. This bird has had its first meal. Da-na-na-na.
Yeah. The
Ruba,
phoenixes generally eat what, Brandon? Would we know, or?
These? That's gonna be a nature check.
Ruba, how long would it take for you to make a mechanical phoenix?
I can do it in 2 days.
Azure.
Mhm.
You are going to. How old is Azure?
Very. He's let's see, 96.
Oh, 96? Okay. I mean, that's young for a dead elf.
Yeah. Well, he's actually a Shadowborn, but okay, Shadowkin.
Yeah. You are going to know back when these creatures roamed Ilderon in full, they would eat in whatever, or they would consume whatever in their environment. That said, for a creature like this, probably fish. It's not hard to assume this is some sort of raptor as far as like a predatory bird.
Mhm.
But yeah, probably anything in a coastal environment this thing would tear apart, like fish, crabs, turtles.
Okay.
It's soft and fleshy.
This one would eat as the gulls, or larger fish of the sea. Anything living in the ocean of animal type.
Oh.
Well, maybe we should have a discussion and as a group and see what our best course of action is. Thank you very much for your information, Monarch XI.
He's going to nod and say, "And I never caught the names of you. It is rare we see Fleshbound and Low Throne."
I'm Azur. Well met.
I am Nyoka, friend of Warforge.
I am
My
Brahm, friend of all those who are enslaved.
My name is Anaziah.
Wilbur.
Lex.
Hi, Johnson, at your service.
He's going to nod and say, "The path all the way back down to the main road is my kingdom. You are welcome upon it."
Appreciate it.
Is there a
Thank you.
is there a place to stay that covers head from the rain?
Just roll a percentage die. So this camp is kind of like an inspiration image. It's not like exactly every building like this, so I might put a roof on one of these buildings. Yeah, I'll say the building nearest XM96's performance is you guys saw a roof on it for the most part.
That upper right building.
Yes.
Okay.
Nyoka is going to ask if we can stay there.
He is going to say, you seek to stay with the monarchs, or you seek to stay with the monarchs of performance. Yes. I shall talk and discuss on your behalf.
Appreciate it.
It would be a terrible shame if I caused you suffering to simply wither here. He looks back at the birds. It is painful, I now know.
And we'll leave some rations with him to soak for the bird.
Brahm just takes out a couple of rations, dumps his water skin on them, and just leaves them in the nest.
That works.
Okay, yeah, this thing's gonna go ham on them. Just kind of
Yeah.
pulling them apart and eating.
Nyoka actually looks at the Warforged and says, "This is good for you. You learn more about us as you take care of the bird."
Yes.
Yes. Well, they are lucky to have a rebirth cycle so soon. Most of us here would not survive to be born again and again, right in front of you, without sustenance.
He's going to nod and say, "And the shield hand was aware of this, which is why she did not offer the horses. And did she have any other strange creatures with her? No, did not. She did not."
Did the shield hand come in person for your conversation?
He is going to nod and say, when they were setting up their camp, they sent emissaries. But as a monarch, I did not accept any of the offers from the emissaries. If their leader could not meet with me, then I did not want to entertain such affairs.
Did she mention what she wanted with the skeleton of the serpent?
He is is going to roll an intelligence check, and he's going to think for a moment and say, she spoke of stories from the other side of the world. The ability to ward large areas, to use the mist and the fogs that such a creature could command.
I somehow wonder if she is more likely to poison the waters than elves from afar. Perhaps such a creature would help her to do so.
Do you know where the camp is for the Queen's soldiers from here?
Was that information given to him? Let us see. Oof. He is going to say, they gave us a location, but when some of the other monarchs went there to trade with them, it was empty. They ride on sky ships now. As to where their camps might be, they might have moved into the mountains.
Interesting. Have you seen one of these skyships?
He's going to nod and say, yes. The shield hand arrived on one.
Magnificent. And would you mind if I inspect the bones in your property as we live?
Yeah, and he'll nod and say, it took me time to do such a majestic creature justice, and commissioning, and rather appreciating and commissioning it to the afterlife. I only ask that you do not destroy the work that I've done so far.
Do you have any spare pieces? Like a chip or something that you had for the work? I am a real admirer of it.
He is going to nod, and yeah. I would say, like, you guys were at this point like walking down the path, and he's going to say, there's the remnants of a cellar in my kingdom, upon which I've stored many things down there. But yes, some of the fragments I have put in there. Do you wish for one?
I do. And I'm going.
How many carvings did Nyoka have?
I had 3.
Alright. He is going to say he's gonna probably look. I don't remember like what each one was, but whatever one would be like in the middle of these, like not the best one, but not the worst one. And he would say, of the carvings you offered earlier, I would take the middle work.
Nyoka nods and says, because of good relations, you may have all 3.
Oh. Okay. Yeah,
Consider this a good trade.
Okay. At the path, he'll say, if you wait on me, I will go back up the hill and fetch such a fragment for you. Party.
I want to study the
When he gets out of earshot, go. That's weird, boss. No one he gives up that much money for just fragments.
Popper.
Yeah, it's definitely unusual. I wonder what her game is.
She likely tends to summon this creature back to life.
Oh, I'm glad you said that, because Brom wouldn't know. But the whole time I'm sitting there thinking he's gonna revive this thing and Or she's gonna revive this thing and turn it loose on everybody.
It could be. It could also be components for powerful magic. You mentioned something about warding mists, similar to the mists she was doing in the ship. I wonder if, can Kaya check the bones and do any kind of arcana or some kind of check on it?
Yeah, you can do an arcana on what you know of water spirits, or you can do a nature check on what you know of this creature. Kaya, you have heard tales of such a creature. They come from over the seas, but yes, I guess what's the easiest way to do this? I'll go from the bottom up. That way, it just gives me like a little bit of like easing into the information. So for Azure, in your culture, as far as like when you lived on Rion, it was preached about that all of the waters of the world are, what connects everybody, and that they are all living. That said, you've heard stories of these of the spirits that inhabit the rivers and the lakes of the world. As to what they actually are, you haven't actually seen. You haven't actually seen or found any valid proof of this. As far as Kayeth is concerned, Kayeth, you've heard the same tales. In addition, you have also heard old Milsarai folklore, which basically said that these spirits were bonded to, the water around them and felt everything that was going through that water, and that if people connected with it, it then became connected to those people. Seeing this creature and just kind of like the scale of it and everything, I guess it would put a little bit more validity to these stories. I can link you JV as a player to probably like one of the short stories Kayeth would have heard about. But the last thing I will say, it would probably stand to reason that if this creature was somehow bonded to the water in this region, that its death would be probably one of the reasons like this area is so I don't want to
swampy, nasty.
Yeah, I don't want to say like out of balance, but like toxic or uninhabitable.
Yeah, Kaya will share this with the group. It maybe this is part of some plan to clean the waters that are being muddied elsewhere.
I don't know.
Shall we,
I mean, it does seem like
discuss our next plans?
Sure.
Could this be an attack on the Darkened Veil?
She must have had some reason for gifting those phoenix eggs, because they are worth a fortune. That is a phenomenal gift to entrust here. Maybe it has something to do with cleansing the air or the water here.
I doubt it's so beneficial. I mean, the reason this place is so deadly is likely because of the death of this creature. If she's taking it elsewhere to use it for other purposes, I don't see how it's going to help this region.
But why would she give a clutch of eggs to this community of peace-loving warforged?
Perhaps a researcher would know more. I do not. We don't know the abilities of the creature.
I think it's as extra eyes and ears for them here to help scare away any potential people to come in here and try and win their side.
Maybe. I think all we can do is speculate at the moment.
Well, we do have contacts in the sigil. We should be able to find people that might know.
Yes, and our mission is technically complete at the moment.
Well, there's more to discuss, but let's go check for our lodging and talk more.
Coming down the hill, you guys are going to see XI. He has a bone fragment in his hand. It's about the size of his palm. And he is going to hand it to Nyoka. At which point, he is going to walk towards the town square and say, "Come now, let's meet with the other monarchs. I believe that XM96 has a new performance that he is giving to the monarchs."
Follow them.
I'm going to excuse myself and start getting to work.
Alright,
Okay.
brother. Have a good night.
I mean,
Yeah, I was assuming
character
in
is.
game. Okay, cool. I was
Yeah.
about to get scared. I was like, did I misread that?
Oh, the character. I see
yeah.
the character.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, yeah,
he's gonna be
Alright.
making the mechanical phoenix so that we can at least
Cool.
save one of these phoenixes.
Nyoka's
I'll see-
gonna also, he's gonna give the 3 statues to XI, and
Mhm.
he's also gonna see if he can assist Wilbur in any way.
Okay. All right. So you are able to, or rather, he's going to lead you to the lodging house here and negotiate with the group of monarchs that has decided to renovate this building. Inside of it, you can see they have set up a small stage, and they have crafted several mannequins made out of less durable materials, like they would be almost like stuffed scarecrows that they pose and act with here, and kind of just like a storage warehouse for their stuff. The party is able to either set up bedrolls or find bedrolls in here for the evening. There was one thing I needed to look at, but it just slipped my mind as to what it was. So, beats me. Alright, so with that, did anybody want to do anything else before I distribute some lay knowledge?
Well, Azur would want to offer performance, perhaps inviting Lex to participate.
Hi, yes, I would like to.
And of course, extend the invitation to all the Warforged that may be interested to come and enjoy.
Do you know any stories of soldiers giving up their arms? I think that might go down a treat.
Certainly.
Alright, let's see.
Although, perhaps one where they take up their arms again may be more appropriate.
Setting up the...
Or worthy cause.
Setting up the stage, you are able to, call in a group of the Stonehearts. They are going, a couple are going to wander in here after, they hear you guys are going to be giving a show. And you draw a crowd of about 9 people to come and watch.
Alright. Any of the monarchs there?
Just a performance check, right? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a performance check.
Alrighty.
So yeah, we'll use instruments, and Azur will also weave a tale that speaks of maybe their people, something he's heard of that he can adapt, how they've given up their arms, and some sort of worthy cause comes along, and their hearts are lit afire, and they're considering rising again for the sake of others or something or other. That kind of a storyline.
Okay. You rolled a performance check. Okay, I see it.
I haven't yet.
Okay, go ahead and roll me that performance check. And you said you're telling a story of people picking up arms?
Well, laying them down first, living a peaceful life, and then being inspired to do so again. Pick them up again for some cause, yes. So, and I might as well apply that ability to increase that. What is that called? Also, I could lend Bardic Inspiration to Annie, right?
Before the roll.
Oh, it's too late. Alright.
Yeah. Alright.
So... My Emissary of Peace gives a plus 5 to Charisma persuasion checks for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, you would have to use that before. Like,
Okay,
yeah.
I'll save that for later. That's fine.
Alright.
As far as...
My performance is mediocre.
Yeah. As far as this story and tale goes, like, for the most part, it goes well. You can see Lex is kind of phoning it in at this point. But,
yeah.
you guys
Lex is probably falling asleep while doing this.
Yeah, you guys have done this enough times that, you know, she doesn't have to be wholly mentally present for it.
Oh no.
The tale is actually going to draw the interest of some of the people here. And when you complete it and finish it, a few people are going to clap. And another person in the audience is going to say, "Oh, that's a good story. What if you change the ending so that they don't?"
All wonderful suggestions. I will say it neutrally.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. He'll say to the two that were clapping much. He'll take note of their faces and kind of figure out who they are if he can.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let me jump over to Nyoka and Wilbur. Wilbur, give me an intelligence roll for free.
Okay. 1 second.
If you're proficient in Arcana, I'll allow you to make it as an Arcana check.
Negative. Let's see what we get. Hey.
It's not a save. It's a check, but
that would be a plus 2. That would be a dirty 20.
Okay. Which is still really, really good. Now, Wilbur is a well-traveled man. Wilbur is a well-traveled man, and he has heard some stories. Especially on the seas, there are stories of a Lil Nagai constantly everywhere in his face. You have heard of an Ilderon crafting process that can speed up the amount of time it takes to craft something by potentially 10 times the speed. However, it does take some pretty powerful arcane energy. If you had access to somebody with 3rd level spells, you could potentially attempt to craft this thing 10 times as fast, only taking an evening to do it.
Well, yes. But the process that I'm using is a little different. It is what I'm basically doing out of character. Is this level I learned an arcane infusion. Artificer infusion, excuse me, which allows me to expend 100 gold pieces and create a small construct, tiny construct, It's called a homunculus servant. Let's see, and it doesn't say how long it takes to create it. It's just that it's something I can do when I hit level 6.
Yeah, so it's 100 gold pieces. So in order to craft something, you work on it in 25 gold increments up to its total value. With Nyoka helping you, you could put 50 gold towards it, which means in 2 days' time you can craft it. In Ilderon, I did introduce a crafting process to the world in which you can craft things 10 times as quickly. The only problem is, rather than like a normal thing of just like you expend all of the resources and then you create the thing at the end, because like you're working meticulously, you would have to make a craft check. And if you don't make the craft check, then it's just a normal day of crafting. So you would be able to apply it to this if you wanted to. And I can send you the wiki page that I have for...
So you're saying he remembered something that he could make an actual like construct that isn't tied to him?
No, he has to craft his construct. As far as the crafting process goes, the way crafting in 5th edition works is you spend 8 hours and you put 25 gold towards an item you are crafting.
Yeah.
Whenever you hit the value of that item, so let's say the item in this case costs 100 gold. 8 hours, 1 day, one work day, you put 25 gold towards it. Another work day, you put 25 gold towards it. You're at 50. In 4 days' time, you craft it.
Mm-hmm. With 2 people, it's half the time.
Yeah. What this process is basically, imagine like, I don't know if you ever saw like people working on the railroad of like them driving like a spike into the ground, and there's like 5 people with the hammer there, and they all time their hammer strikes to where it's like one person hits, the hammer moves, and the next hammer hits like a millisecond later and it moves, and then the next person's hammer hits a millisecond later, and it just kind of looks really fluid. This is kind of like that, of like using the arcane energy to make the materials and everything like more malleable, and while one person's focusing on that part, like who's ever crafting the items like is trying to put this together the best they can in this short period.
Nice.
Okay.
That said, mechanically, crafting in 5th edition is dumb and takes forever. And if I didn't introduce a way for it to go faster, nobody would ever craft anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, out of character, I suppose if you make a second one of these homunculus, the first one's going to fall apart, right?
No, not necessarily.
Now, is this your alchemical servant, or?
No, it's just a homunculus. Well, it's called a homunculus, but it's a construct, specifically. So yeah. Yeah, just...
Okay, so... I actually misread on the wiki, and I'll link this to you because I said I would. As a artificer, you can do this process. So if the item costs 100 gold, it would be a DC 10 check you have to complete at the end of the process in order to craft it. As far as the homunculus goes for the artificer, I'll have to look into that. I was fairly certain you could only have one at a time. But I'll look it up later, because I doubt you'll be able to craft 2 of them this session anyways. Just to make sure I don't cheat you in the future. Alright. So, there's something was rolled and I didn't know what that was. Light armor. I'm sorry, I cut you off, Wesley. Go ahead.
I was just saying, if I've got to give it all, I mean, if I've got to get the thing up to for a, for the little guy, then I guess that's what happens. So it's a trade.
Warforged love trading.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you attempt to magically craft it?
Yes. I'll.
Okay, and I'm assuming you're a 5th level artificer.
I'm a 6th level artificer.
Okay, easy peasy. Give me that craft check using the tools of your choice. DC 10.
Alright. So this is gonna be Smith tools. Let me set this up since it's not on. And I just hit, so it's gonna be a +7. Nice.
And then what was it?
Wilbur doesn't even need Nyoka's help. Nyoka's just like over his shoulder, just like, okay, can I? And Wilbur's like, yeah, and just kind of going at it. That said, at the end of your working period, you will have a working mechanical servant.
All right. I'm not going to. I guess I'll leave off the last little bit, activating it until I can meet with him in person.
Okay.
But I'm gonna leave that like with that one tiny little step left before it properly activates, and so to show him that it is alive and all that good stuff.
All right. So, does anybody else want to do anything before I skip to the next day?
Well, Zer wants to check with the party about a few things. When there aren't supposedly any Stonehearts listening.
Okay. Once nightfall happens, I guess nightfall isn't very different to day here. They don't really have to sleep, and as long as they're not fighting, they don't need to, take a long rest to recover. A couple of them go back outside to watch XM9. The others, you hear them step off into the distance, and I'd say you guys are able to take like a back storeroom here that they cleared out for you and have a modicum of privacy.
Okay.
Nyoka team meeting as well.
Go ahead, Nyoka.
Oh, before me and Wilbur part, Nyoka asks, should we take the other ones? If so, can you craft eggs that look like what we saw up there?
You mean, can I craft eggs? I can make eggs out of steel, but that they won't ever.
Yeah, but will they look
copper.
like?
I mean, they'll look like I can make them out of copper and and stuff like that. But I can't make them.
Basically, Nyoka's asking if you could forge. It sounds like you can't. You can't forge it.
I can. If you're asking me to make egg sculptures to trade for each of the eggs, I mean, yeah, I could try it if you'll take it.
That isn't what he's asking.
He's asking, could you make fakes so that we can swap them and steal the real ones?
And they'd have to be like painted or something, obviously.
Painting's not my thing, no.
But there's a Warforged here with paint.
Painting, we don't have any paints other than what the Warforged have, which isn't good enough. Alright, that's fine.
Okay, so the meeting time?
Yeah, if you guys want to meet, you do have the space and time to do so.
Alright, so Zer will basically bring up, so we still have a chance to pitch to them their support for our Abyss contact. My play may have turned a few of them toward that direction, but I'm not sure about the rest, so we may want to think about how to present it to all of them in a way that may be acceptable.
What do you want their support for?
Tior may need protection if there's retaliation from her enemies.
That strikes me as Tior's business, and that our mission is complete. That we have the information, we have the opportunity to trade for a phoenix egg, which is a magnificent opportunity. We have our tapestry, and we should either return back to Coven, or we should continue to pursue the boats, the flying ships into the mountains, and see if we can find where any more information about the shield band.
We have 2 tapestries, don't we?
We do.
Yes.
Tior's business is now my business as well, and I've joined her order. I would like them to survive and thrive. To continue what they're doing.
If you want to go and talk to Warforged while we're here and recruit them to Tior's mission, then you're welcome to. But I do not think that we should delay to make more time for that.
And as far as the eggs are concerned, we should probably get at least 2.
Well, I was gonna see if we could we trade one of the tapestries that we're not gonna use, or turn to Tior to maybe get another one of these eggs.
If we can trade a tapestry for an egg, that is a magnificent deal on our end.
Absolutely.
My understanding is they're extremely valuable, so absolutely. I'm not sure if that's possible.
We may not want to do that, considering our deal with Simmer is 2 artifacts.
Our deal was 1, and she'd give us a bonus for any more we had.
Well,
As long as we've got 1 to give back, I think we've kept our deal.
These eggs are way more valuable than anything she can give us anyway.
That's
True.
what I'm thinking.
I agree. But yeah, if anyone has ideas about how to get more eggs, which doesn't involve a village full of angry waterforged chasing us afterwards, I'm all ears.
If he,
anybody is welcome to roll a history check on these eggs. I didn't know, they'd be, so important to your characters. They do exist in the world, and they are places, so some people might have knowledge of them.
Brom don't know shit.
Yeah.
I got a good roll. Woohoo!
you say history?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Can I do history?
Yeah, go ahead.
I do have nature. Wow, I should have done this earlier. I'm sorry. Hey.
Oh. Well, this was a history check, Wesley, as far as where you've encountered them. I'm gonna you can keep that roll, but just add your history bonus to it.
It would be a 21.
Okay.
21.
All right. So I'll start from the bottom up. Brom, holy mother flipping flip! There are elemental phoenixes in the world of different elements. You just learned that today.
Whoa!
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
For Kaya, Kaya, you are very aware that these things were nearly hunted to extinction when Terai came about. A Terai that consumes the soul of one of these things. It is said they never feel hunger again. And many of them can blend into human society without anybody ever really knowing. So that just caused a lot of them to be hunted down and eventually killed. Well, not killed, but consumed. In Azaya, you are going to know there has been a... in Azaya and Wilbur are going to know this. There has been a concentrated effort from the Maphis University to reintroduce these into the world. As such, some scholars have been breeding them and releasing them into the wild. But also more specifically, you guys know leaders of the world collect these eggs as symbols of power and prestige. So the person with the most of them is Elizabeth, the Empress of the Darkened Veil. And I will say Inaziah also knows that the Asatar of Undar, she has quite a few of these.
Did you say Elizabeth? Like
Yes.
the Undying Queen, I think the
Yes.
title was?
Yes.
Yes. More reason to go see her. Damn it!
A bunch of these.
Don't worry, I know a guy.
Yeah, so does the Asatar of Undar. And it's not... it's super uncommon to see these, but seeing somebody of, like, incredible power and privilege, it's not uncommon to see that they might have, you know, 1 or 2 of these eggs.
And the shield
And he's
hand
been
gave
here with
Laura
4 of
4.
Yes.
Or gave this guy 4.
That is correct.
So, I assume Azura knows that if he eats one of these things, it's gonna, like, pretty much fix his hunger problem?
Yeah, I'll say that's decent enough knowledge for Azure. He's heard
quick
stories
question.
of it. As far as if it's true or not, I'm going to say Azure doesn't have, like, the definitive proof, but yeah. Like, that's a pretty common Terrai thing, to just like, man, if only we had a Phoenix. What's up? Nussul?
Is my role good enough to know what happens to the phoenix bird after it's consumed by a Terrai? Does it go back into an egg, or is it done?
I'll put you up there. At that, you know, for the most part, it's not that you know, these things just heal Terrai. It's that the soul keeps trying to regenerate, and as it's doing it, it's providing enough sustenance for the Terrai to keep living. So it keeps trying to regenerate, and the Terrai keeps consuming it. So, kind of, I don't want to say symbiotic relationship, but almost. I don't think there's a word for a parasite that's on the outside other than just like regular consumption.
I think they call that damnation.
Yeah.
Soul sucking prick.
Probably.
Constant meal, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Constantly being fed, yeah.
Yeah. But I
It's
just
like
wanted to
my
give
Taco
your characters like a little bit more weight to the conversation of like what they're discussing.
Right.
Do you think we could? Okay, so these guys seem to be value logic, right?
They like
And
logic,
So
and they like trading.
yeah. So do you think, given that these are so rare and they're near extinction, I wonder if we could appeal to a sense of logic to let us take them to, you know, maybe a university or something where they could be raised properly. You know, give them a chance to, you know, possibly save them from extinction.
Quite possibly. That's a good appeal.
Because if I thought that he was starving them for their art or whatever, I would be amiss to take them. Deal with the consequences later, but I don't think that was the case.
Apparently, it was sheer ignorance.
Yeah, it seemed like it was not understanding the need for sustenance in the same way.
Yeah.
And also the lack of information and schooling from that one that gifted it to them. She didn't care about them either.
Hey,
Or
Brennan,
actually, rather,
I sent
she's the
you,
only one that didn't.
I did see your question.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
So yeah, ultimately the gifter didn't inform them, therefore the blame is on her as well.
Well,
especially her.
I don't think I can really blame a creature that never has to eat about not knowing that he needs to eat. He needs to feed others.
Correct.
But I don't know. It's just I don't think they should stay here.
He's already said he's going to relocate from somewhere more hospitable. Perhaps if we offer to do that relocation and to take them back to Coven for a breeding program, that might be, as we mentioned, a good deal.
Yeah.
Does anyone know anything about Warforged and how they're made, or how to help them have babies or something like that? He seemed to indicate that was a challenge for them.
Well, I would guess that they were not. Warforged aren't born; they're built.
From what I've heard, that seems to be so.
Brandon,
Yes.
would I know that from XJ?
Oh,
Can you roll for me?
yeah, I can roll for you. If I put knowledge on the wiki, I'm comfortable with you guys saying. I don't know if I ever put how Warforged are created on the wiki.
Isn't it the Soulstone stuff?
Yes. Anybody can roll a history check, I suppose, on Warforged if they know the process, and I will also roll for Nyoka as soon as my computer stops being slow.
Well, Xi did mention that there are remnants from their brethren that they haven't utilized to create more of them. So we could offer to perform that and perhaps give them new parts of their own race in exchange.
As far as Wilbur is concerned, and Kayeth are concerned. Well, Kayeth, yeah. It's good you're asking this question so you can learn. Wilbur, Stonehearts were created in the Heimsdale army, and then they stopped creating them. Nyoka, you are aware that Stonehearts are created from what Nyoka refers to as spirit stone. It is petrified stone. Of a person being petrified and ground to dust. Then from that dust, people are able to create these sentient constructs of Warforged. It isn't creating life, it's more of a transmutation of life. Since you nat 20, Shelby, I'll say Nyoka is also acutely aware that most of them are made from criminals. And there isn't a big supply of soulstone out there.
So maybe we can call around to see if anybody has any of that stone that could be bartered for.
I wonder, out of character, if anyone's heard rumors of the head of that university who keeps her prisoners as stone. And she might have some soulstone remnants from them over the ages.
I would say, I'm not going to deny knowledge from you guys and just be like, no, but I would say that Dila is so, you have knowledge of that as a player, Steve, because, you played in a different campaign. But I would say your characters, Dila's so secretive about, which of her statues are people and which ones are art, that it would even probably be a secret to most people that the statues in her office might be people. It would be on a DC 25 history check, which I don't think anyone's capable of making in the party.
Not with my intelligence.
Yeah,
With my intelligence.
A nat 20, isn't an instant success. I guess maybe Kaya.
Nat 20 with inspiration, perhaps.
No, the best I'd be able to do. Wait, you said history, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, no, history would be a 21 if I got a nat. I got excited because I looked at my my saving throw bonus. It's +4. I'm like, oh, I'm pretty close.
We interrupted you, JV. You were saying something.
Oh, just perhaps we could reveal our hand as the Silver Sigil and invite them to bring an emissary back to Coven with us. If they brought the eggs and were part of the breeding program, and we could perhaps get an extra egg for the services we're providing, and then we can start to have a Warforged emissary, which hopefully we can help them recreate their race. That's a good thing.
Yes.
That's a good idea. We could start a forge of sorts to create their kind, and then we can also start a breeding program and provide them eggs back in the future if they wish to take care for some.
Yeah, allow them to grow once again without other people controlling them.
Yeah, so you're suggesting that we offer to bring them back to the sigil, but these eggs have to come with and will...
Any point a magical emissary who would come back?
I think that could work, but I believe they separated themselves because they were used in the past. They might not be fully trusting. I could be wrong about that.
I feel that as an emperor, it would help them to have a emissary with other centers of power in the nation, and that if the monarch can find an emissary who's willing to come, maybe it's the XJ35 we met before. 96 seems to be somewhat occupied, but that might be a good sort of start of a useful relationship.
Yes, perhaps he could even learn the process himself and come and assist in creating some of his new brethren.
As I'm trying not to control the roleplay so much, but you guys do know he did say earlier it's not that they don't know the process, it's that they don't partake, but because they have to basically destroy the bodies of their fallen.
Great. So their bodies are technically, they do technically still have that soul stone or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
they're ground up.
The core, yes, it's in there. They've all just been brutally stabbed or broken or killed, as you know, mortals do. Just mortal things.
But you could also rediscover how to make themselves from scratch rather than just repairing the old ones.
Yeah.
Right.
Just transfer the soul stone.
Well, it's worth a try, perhaps. And worst case scenario, Wilbur trades for one stone, and we've got our information, and we're well ahead.
So shall we present this all as a play again, or something more of a discussion?
I think it should just be a negotiation.
I agree.
I don't think that duplicity would serve us well here.
All right then.
Yeah, I agree.
Who would like to be on the negotiation team?
I'm sure is willing.
I'm holding a prize, so yeah.
I'm hearing Azure, Wilbur, and Lex.
Yeah, I can help. Yep.
I am okay with this because I just want to save those phoenixes. So
Yeah, I would like to save them too, and if possible, study the species. But, I don't. I don't know.
So, regardless of how the negotiations go, what do we want to do after that? Is it return home, or is it continue on our search?
I am not functioning at my normal parameters. The hunger is taking me.
So we need to get you home as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Well, it will not be as effective currently. That's the main thing.
Yes.
I cannot enter without permission, and the sun is very, very annoying.
Yeah. Essentially, we need to find him a meal.
Soon.
Yep, maybe we'll run into some bandits on the way back.
Well, we have a spot with teleportation. As soon as we decide to leave, we can return home.
But would there be food for Azur at home?
Well, what have you been doing most of your time in Finland? I'm sure you've got your means sorted out.
Well, mainly I would need to head back to Darkenvale, which I've
Alright.
not done for a while.
Alright, so we'll discuss this then?
Need to go talk to.
Just to XI or to the entire... I suppose it's really only his decision about birds.
Yeah.
They're
He's
his
the one
birds,
with
aren't
the
they?
birds.
Yeah.
Well, he's not sleeping, so we can go now, or we can go after a night's rest.
I'd rather take care of it now, to be honest.
I agree.
Excellent idea.
Because then we have to figure out how we'll steal him if he says no.
Of
Rob
course.
just touches his
Oh,
nose
very
and points at Wilbur.
Alright.
Azur looks away, pretending like he didn't hear anything, I guess, for now.
Yeah.
Alright, so Azure, Wilbert, and Lex head to Xi's kingdom.
Yay.
Did JB want to come along, or?
Oh yeah.
Come along. If you can be the spokespeople.
Alright.
Roll back up.
Wherever JV goes, Brom's gonna go too. So
Okay, Brom goes with Kaya.
How many inspirations can I pass out?
Bardic Inspirations, as many equal to your Charisma modifier.
Okay.
I believe probably
I'm
4
Bard
for
too.
you.
I have 4, yeah.
Yeah.
So I can pass one to each of you 3, and
Okay.
it'll last for 10 minutes.
Okay.
You guys walk the road up to Xi's house. Is he doing anything important? No, he's probably just kneeling in front of his nest, watching the one phoenix earlier that was hatched. It is currently resting, and you guys can see the scraps of all of your food that you left there are gone. As you come up here, he is going to look at you and say, I've never seen this creature so peaceful before. I almost thought it was the state of mortals to suffer.
You're not wrong, but that doesn't quite mean what you think it does.
With that, he'll stand up and say, I secured... Ooh! I did roll another check, because it would be getting late by now. The rain is, for the first time since you guys have been in this region, is actually going to slow to a trickle. By the time you make your way up the hill, there's like that after miss, I guess, of a rain, but the storm the rainfall actually stops. At which point, he's going to say, I've secured you lodging, and it appears that you didn't even need it for the evening.
Well,
Well, thanks a lot,
I would like
anyway.
to.
We are much appreciative of the lodging. And we will be using it. It's just we wanted to speak to you further.
I'm going to kind of step forward, and I'm gonna kind of like out of my bag. I'm gonna bring out the homunculus I made.
Okay.
And it's right now. It's kind of in like it would be in a resting position.
Okay.
And it's.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Just I guess a brief description. It's made I guess it's mostly the shape is mostly out of iron, but I managed to kind of give it a gold filigree. You know, that 100 gold pieces worth of gold.
Okay.
Melted it down and kind of just worked it into the feathers so it shines really brightly. And it's kind of like a peacock, right? It's, real slender and all that. Just finer features. And he's gonna show it to him. And he's like, there's one small step left before it wakes up, but before that, there's something. We feel it's really important that we need to discuss, and hopefully we can enter some negotiations. I'm gonna let somebody with higher charisma than me do the rest of the talking.
What's your charisma?
Mine is.
Wilbert has a gun. He doesn't have a charisma score.
Never mind.
I have
Whoever has 4, because I only have 3 charisma. Or plus any modifier.
Mine's 18 with. I'm also going to use a skill that gives me +5 to my roll.
Oh,
I
nice.
have 10 charisma.
Me too.
I've got 9.
Alright, so yeah, I do have that +4 that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Alright, so Azur
Charisma-wise, I only have like 9.
is going to kind of step forward and address him and say, as you can see, those of us that are born of the flesh have a little bit more knowledge and experience with living creatures and how they need to have sustenance and comfort and pleasures that would normally not come to your mind because of your lives being so different. So we've been discussing it, and we believe it would be wise to give them a new home and help them to expand as a species so there'll be more and more of them under the guidance of experts as there are where we come from. In the out of character, what's it called again? The place we come from, that island?
Oh, Coven?
Coven.
Coven.
Okay. On Coven, there are many mystics, librarians, skilled peoples, and magicians. If I didn't say that already. So they are very knowledgeable of these species and how they should be cared for and the best life that they can have. And we're also interested in, if you're up for it, to help you to expand your race, to bring more Warforged to you here, and have more friends and companions in exchange for the opportunity to help these birds to thrive. That's basically what
Wilbur's going to jump in and say, you see, these phoenix here have been hunted nearly to extinction. There's very, very few of them left, and there are scholars who have devoted all of their time to making sure that they don't, disappear from this world. So 4 eggs would be an immense step in making sure that these creatures don't just vanish. And we're hoping that we can come to an agreement to get them to people who can make sure that the race survives.
Yes. With your permission, we would like to be able to take them for a little while and study them and help them a little bit more so that we can make more of them and possibly return some to you.
He's going to think on this for a moment and say, I was told in most places of the world these creatures would live most of their lives as eggs, and that this region would be beneficial for them. They only hatch from their eggs in the presence of a full storm or while submerged in waves. It said I was fortunate enough to see their hatching once, but without the constant rainfalls of this area, he's going to pause and say, fearful of how well they would thrive.
Wave pools can be created. The place we come from is an island as well, so areas could be sectioned off in the sea where they can be observed. And in the future, when some were brought back to you, emissaries could be sent that are experts to help teach you all how to take care of them properly, so that they can help expand back into nature here under your care.
And what assurance do I have that you won't simply take these young and head straight to the markets of Dagger Gully?
An excellent question.
Go ahead.
Have you ever heard of the Silver Sigil?
I will respond to that, but go ahead and describe what Brahm was doing.
Brahm just spits on the floor when he hears Dagger Gully and stomps his staff on the ground. He's like, he is so pissed. He says, fuck those people.
Yeah. At which point Xi is going to look over and say, the Silver who now? Looking at Brahm's anger, and he's going to say, so I see your life has been touched by the crown too.
Yes, we are currently working at our best to learn what they're up to, why, and hopefully counter it. They're really trying to upset the balance of all of the lands in every direction and cause war. None of us want a large war. This will interrupt all our work and all the lives of everyone living as far as you can travel.
And to assure you, we mean no harm to these creatures. I have a connection to the spirits of these creatures, and I'll look up and find an area that's that
non-flammable.
It's not flammable, and there's nothing around it, and I'll summon my wildfire spirit, which is a phoenix.
Okay.
And explain that this is a primal spirit that is bound to my own. I seek only to ensure that these creatures thrive.
As you can see, we have no interest in duplicity, but as a monarch of these lands, have you heard of the Silver Sigil?
He did respond to that, and he'll say again, no, I've not heard of this Silver Sigil before.
Kayak will roll up his sleeve and make his Silver Sigil mark light up. Each one of us are part of a organization which most people have not heard of, but our mission is that of peace and that of magical pursuits. The library in Coven is where many of us reside, and not many people know this at all. So as a monarch, we're entrusting you with this information, and we would invite you to send one or invite one of your fellows, so magically inclined, to accompany with us and ensure that our word is true and that the eggs are well looked after for a breeding program.
Alright, I'm gonna roll something on stream. Do you guys want one in your favor, or high in your favor, or low in your favor?
Hi.
Hi?
Yeah.
Alright. you guys are gonna have no idea what this means, but for everyone watching, congratulations. Carrie is not here. He is going to.
Oh.
He's going to say, yes, there is one within our ranks who are one among the monarchs who does enjoy travel. If you are willing to take him to this island, and he can return to me and say that the clutch has been safely delivered, I will trust my gifts with you.
What do you
Thank
say?
Very much.
He
Excellent.
said we got him.
Out of character, Brandon, you said Carrie is not among.
Yeah, Carrie is not here. I was going to send Carrie with you guys, but he is not here.
That's too bad. Nyoka knows Carrie.
That's normally a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Erica knows them? Oh no.
Everybody that Naoka thinks of as a friend is normally an enemy to everybody else.
You have not met Carrie.
Carrie
It's a very, very noble and wise decision you've made.
Carrie is
Take good care
only
of
an enemy of Carrie.
That's great.
And Azure will like shake his hand or something,
Okay.
looking him in the eyes.
Yeah, I don't know. How would they seal deals here? I guess he would like take your hand and probably like just dip his hand in like any nearby paint he has, paint across your arm.
Oh yeah.
I'll return the
I'm thinking
gesture.
of that hand-crushing handshake.
All right.
He doesn't know what pain is.
At that, so there are only 2 eggs in this nest. There's 2 eggs and one. There's 2 eggs and 1 hatch phoenix. The
Right.
other one, he said, was big enough to explore the region and hunt for food. That was the caw that Kyath heard in the night of that predatory bird nearby.
That's what I
Okay.
thought.
Oh.
Well, that's good.
so he'll part.
So what?
Yeah, he'll part with the 2 eggs, and of course, the creature for the creature trade.
Okay, I'll take the baby phoenix then.
What about the 4th? When does it come back generally?
If you're asking him in character, he'll. Actually, I'll roll a die of when's the last time he's seen it. He's gonna say, "At last it was here, perhaps 3 days ago. It comes and goes as it pleases. It
Well,
knows
if-
this area as its nest, but that does not mean that it spends much time here."
If it's living and thriving on its own, there's no need for us to bother it.
Yes, perhaps as the other ones grow, we can reintroduce them here and establish a colony.
Before I hand that phoenix over, I'm gonna, or the one that I made, I'm gonna take like a sapphire, and I'm gonna place it in kind of a compartment, little spot in its chest. And it's gonna glow a bit, and the bird is going to animate. Just start doing bird things.
Yeah, as much as as Xi's expression can change, like he can't smile, but his mouth is just gonna kind of like open up, almost is like emoting with happiness. As he goes, "Aha!" as he watches the creature and holds his hand out for it.
Azure will be smiling big, watching.
Just take good care of him for me.
And he is going to say, "But of course." At which point, are you guys cool with us ending there? And we can handle
Sure.
teleportation back to Coven next session.
Sure.
Well, it might be nice to give Azure a chance to eat the one that's out in nature, but whatever.
I'm gonna go ahead and let you know that that's probably not gonna happen.
Oh yeah, Brown wouldn't let you do that.
Well, I mean, he'd do it secretly, obviously. I was just kind of joking to some extent.
Well, so let me ask you this: if you consume the phoenix soul, and you perish, does the sea phoenix soul go back? Revive itself?
I have no
I
idea.
would think so.
I think they stayed consumed by me, and therefore probably not.
I will answer that off stream, but for anybody who wants the question, go back and look at Group B's mid-season finale. It was a very interesting session. Let's end the session for there. I'll get you guys stats on Lay Baby Bird. Next session, it's probably going to be incredibly similar to that Phoenix Soul that I put in the chat box, but I'll exactly get what it is and isn't capable of. And let's see what else. Okay, so you guys completed a quest. I'm going to give you guys milestone experience for our milestone for the Warforge. So
Nice.
yeah, I believe that's going to be your first milestone at this level. And okay.
Well, yeah, we just leveled up, so
Yeah.
yes.
So one milestone. There's a major part of this storyline. The Shield Hand has been here, and she has negotiated with these people and traded for something from them.
And she was partly here to recruit them.
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys... go ahead. I'm sorry for cutting you
But
off.
then was really happy with the skull of this giant snake.
Yes, I'm going to give you guys minor experience for tying more Ilderon lore into the session. And you guys didn't skip over that, which was kind of cool. And then I'm also going to give you guys major experience. I don't know, maybe I should inverse this flip-flop and give you major experience for Nyoka exploring art. Of just I don't get it, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
Man, if there wasn't so many Warforged around, I would have walked up all angrily and just mended the tree.
Stop breaking things.
I had a conversation with Willow about this. I'll talk about this off stream. Never mind. Okay, so in total, 900 experience for tonight, and you guys are at one milestone, and your next session is on the 3rd of September. Or wait, October. Oof. Okay, cool.
Oh.
All right.